was indeed. Which was amazing. I was watching the BBC and there she was doing a poem at the start of the festival. It was fucking awesome. I was literally just like, yes, Des. So look, she's an absolute amazing talent. This is Disco Army and I absolutely love it. I love it a bit too much. Guys, give a huge, huge, huge round of applause. Stomp your feet. Go completely mental for having an army out of disco. And give it up for Desree!
A saxophone. Round of applause for the band, please. Oh, girl, don't start with me. He's flirting with me, I'm going to tell. Hi, everybody. My name is Desree. Thank you for that lovely, lovely intro, Henry. What being a poet at Glastonbury means is that there's 6 people in a tent while you perform, which is wonderful. So it's a lot bigger than it actually sounds. So I'm going to do 2 poems for you today. None of them are in that book, but I'm bringing it up there because of product placement. I do also have some with me, so I'll show it in between. This first poem is kind of sexy but angry. Think snakes. Does anybody know the story of Medusa? Yeah. Yes, it's Medusa. That's clear. I think that's really clear. This poem is called Snakes. They made you villain, called you temptress instead of victim, called him man instead of missing, banish her, forgive him. They named the wrong one monster, saw all his beast and named him God. Reveled in his ability to control things that did not need to be controlled. Sis, I know that feels like drowning. Each touch a wave, you try and get yourself out from underneath, confused. How something that usually slips between fingers can feel so heavy. He caused a tsunami and then labeled you an earthquake. But that's the thing about men who believe themselves to be God. They mistake theft for benevolence, sis. We are all out here trying to turn these men to stone, make them still, able to keep their hands to themselves. And I am sorry that Athena saw you as threat instead of casualty. Chose her temple over yours, and I'm still trying to work out if those snakes in your hair were an act of mercy, a promise, an escape from these men, a certainty that they will never look at you again. Yet still, you are proof. It doesn't matter what you're wearing, where you go, what you do, they will still come after you. Perseus cut off your head as though a man hadn't taken enough from you already. Made a trophy out of your skin. Saw you as prize instead of victim, but I suppose this is what they have always done. Pulled death from our bodies and labeled us sinner or sacrifice, but never consenting. aren't they? I'm just like here saying some words, giving them really bad instructions. This next poem, the last poem I'm going to do. Oh, sorry, this is the book. Not reading from it, but this is the book, not reading from it, but it is available if you want to buy it. I've got some on me. They've got little QR codes, so it brings you to performances of me saying those performances rather than just reading them. And here's me trying to cut it into the shape of the book so it fit into the book so that I could pretend I was reading from the book, but it didn't happen. So anyway, here we are. We moved on. It's just a weird shaped piece of paper now. So tomorrow I get on a flight and I go to the Caribbean, which sounds lovely, but my nan died. And I wasn't able to, they asked me if I would do a eulogy. I said no, but I wrote it. So this is my eulogy to her and my granddad who passed away 2 years ago. So one of the last things my nan ever said was, I'm going to do it in her accent. She said, lay me down on top of my husband. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to lie her down on top of her husband. Sorry? Do I want a one drop? How do you want it? Oh, I want it joyful, but sad, but joyful. But sad, but joyful. But joyful, but sad, yeah. Basically exactly how my nan wants her funeral. She wants us all to cry, but also to have fun, but definitely to cry. So this is for both my granddad and my nan. They're two poems that I've kind of like pulled together. My granddad has weak arms. He can no longer hold them up like he used to once. He used them to sail 4,060 miles for a new life. He spent the entire time clutching at his chest for warmth and kept the heat on for all 14 siblings. My granddad's arms are not what they used to be. Once, he heard me whimper, so fashioned a lasso that reached across the North Atlantic Ocean and pulled me to him. He was always pulling me to him, to safety. And that is what joy is. My granddad, this man who makes me believe in magic as if there's no other reason he could exist. He has held me for so long, I've only learned the feel of my own weight. The power in this body, the lessons that he has taught me are here in these arms, in the straightness of this back, in this heart. How could he not be joy? How is his love not universal? I've ran into his arms and he has lifted me over obstacles. He has caught me every time I thought I was big enough to do it myself, even though his arms are now weak. And he cannot hold them up like he used to. He still holds a laugh. Kept a bit in his room for everyone and gave a piece. And that's joy, right? My granddad, his cackle, that smile. My granddad and I both have tiny ears. He says it's because because his mum bit a man's ear off when she was pregnant with him. That's a true story. I think that's why he's not always the first to speak. He listens, talks barely. My granddad looks at me like I brought Christmas in. We're Caribbean, so more like Easter. More like fried fish and real macaroni cheese. Like impeccably timed jokes and laughing with your whole chest. There is nothing he enjoys more than the sound of 20 hearts beating in his living room. Passing doors through lips filled with stories. And I have never known a safer place than the floor in front of my granddad's legs on a Sunday. And that is joy, right? Being loved more than you feel like you deserve. And even when he can't remember why, he knows he still does. And we laugh. And he looks at me like his arms might be too weak to hold me, but nothing else is. And she was sculpted from clay by her grandmother, Adina, given life as a woman on an island small enough to fold in half, with superhuman gifts that can only be delivered by God. herself. A courage to sail 1,000 ships, to birth flags on continents with no wind. She was built stronger than anything any man could rip from roots. Her mouth watered children who blossom in her likeness. Look at her. An arsenal of magic and redemption, a song in retreat, a scripture baptized in wrinkles, a giver of ceremonies. Oh Eunice, sanctity lies between your fingers. Oh Eunice, Grandmum, at your feet I find my Sacrium. Huge round of applause for the band, please. They're amazing. Thank you guys.
Give it up for Desree!